I've moved across the Daily Telegraph, writing the Brassneck blog, on the basis that I would use more or less the same kind of methodology that I've done on Slugger O'Toole. I set Slugger up 5 years ago primarily as a research resource for a paper that I was writing on the future of unionism in Northern Ireland. Now, I won't go into that, but the paper was delivered a year later, and by that stage Slugger had taken on a kind of a life of its own. For about 7 months nobody said anything in the comment zone. By the time we started publishing the original research interviews, people started to talk and talk and talk, and I think that implies conversation. It doesn't mean to say that the blogger has to be dominated by the views of other people, but that in getting into conversation, very often it uncovers other people's insights. It can very often uncover hidden context to issues that you thought in your desk research and preparing the piece that you covered all the angles. And in fact, it's that uncovering of hidden context, I think, is one of the most exciting things about the blogging thing. You just can't get if you're posting through a print newspaper. I think the way bloggers influence is by subtly inflecting new insights and new ideas, not always their own, very often kind of picked up, borrowed, magpie-like, and inserted into the public discourse. My view of what I am when I blog is a concerned citizen who wants to know which way he might vote when it comes to the next general election. And that is my character when I write Slugger, and it's my character when I write Brassneck. I don't want to do politicians any favours, but I also don't want to undermine their legitimate authority as democratically elected politician.
Well, the inevitable question, do you dread being contacted by a political PR or a lobbyist?
I don't mind being contacted. I do not like the idea of being caught in the lobby, so to speak, where you can be collared and your brain kind of battered from one point to the other. It's a useful and energizing game to belong to for short periods of time, but I really value the capacity to withdraw from that kind of daily round, that daily process, and be able to think through issues for myself, basically. This idea that there's something called blogs and bloggers, and there's something else called journalists, with a degree of, it's clear, there's a clear and apparent line at the moment, but it is blurring day by day, month by month. It's mainstream journalists doing reasonably good blogging, and a group blog. They've got the group dynamic, very nice. There's Ben Brogan on the Daily Mail, also doing stuff that is being recognised by mainstream bloggers as good blogging. So I think the distinction is going to blur, and I think there's going to be a degree of pressure on columnists to connect with online readership, and I think some of us are going to be doing a little bit of both, and it's perhaps not going to be clear when we're doing one or the other.